Okay, so I see conversations about quit your job, join the creator economy, start creating content, post content. The problem with that advice is that when you start creating content, if you're making talking head videos like this, you find out that your first couple of videos, even though they will not get any views because nobody knows you, the impact in those videos will be very high. It will be a condensed, rich type of content. Even when you play it, you'll be like, wow, this was hard. It may not do the number of views you want, maybe 2 or 3 views. But as you go further in creating content, because of pressure, because of the amount of volume you need to produce in this space where a lot of consumption is going on, a lot of people are also creating content. Because of these two factors, the tendency to dilute out what you're doing will be there. You know, it will suffer your content, the quality of your content may suffer dilution when you have to pump out, for example, 25 videos in a day, 50 videos in a day. For example, if for any reason you have to do that, quality might get compromised. But see what is even more interesting. The richness of your conversation, of my conversation, is very much dependent on how much life I live. So if you're at a job and you're interacting with people, it's invariably, and you're self-aware. You think about this a certain way, you're analytical when you're having conversations with people, whether it's verbally or otherwise. What it does is it now enriches your conversation and makes your content good quality and rich. So it happens to musicians a lot. When they start off and they pop off, most of the music they make connects with people because they're talking about their struggle, they're talking about the things they just touched. But after a couple of years, the tendency to fall off because you're now disconnected from the source of your music. And then the people who consume are people who are still in the place where you were when you were making the music already popular. So when you now can no longer relate to the things they relate to, start making a certain type of music that will now jettison those people that started with you in the beginning. So it's also a good idea to grow your music, of course, because it will now cater to a certain crowd. But I'm just saying that when you leave your job and you now sit at home, there's probably there's life to live anyway. There are other things a person could do. But if you look at it, you can see it's a thin line now to where you're creating content to help people. And there's a good number of people in the place you're coming from. There are a lot of people working 9 to 5. There are a lot of people who don't have enough money to pay their bills. There are a lot of. So if you're catering for that crowd, that's a large number of people. So the moment you are no longer able to converse at that level because you are no longer in touch with people, you don't go outside that much, you can see what it can do to the quality of the content, right? So if possible, the challenge in working in 9 to 5 and creating content at the business scale is the fact that the job is time jealous. And it's not just time jealous, it's also energy jealous. So it's energy consuming and time consuming. So you can tend to attack this other one. You're going to have to now find the sweet spot and the fine line and the balance. But just have it at the back of your mind. If you completely detach, a lot of your conversation may water down because the day to day that puts the fire in your body to start in the beginning, you have now detached from. So a remedy to that may be to also get living life. Don't completely detach and sit in your house and keep talking to your phone. After a certain point, you will become repetitive, and by so then the quality of the content will have watered down.